say so much. Sexuality was always a topic for me, but I approached this topic from a different perspective than you did. So you were quite easygoing. You had it. You enjoyed. You had plenty of it. Yes, and you had not the slightest feeling like it would or could be something bad or something to avoid, or you never had the feeling something might be wrong with it.
No.
You did not have any issues like, that you didn't find women to do it or whatever. It just happened.
The vast majority of women, I copulated with were professional women. It was their business. And,
Yes.
That could be deemed to be the worst of the worst. But you see, I've got a very different handle on sexuality and sex, as lots of other nations, particularly like Africans. Africans are very, very free. They're not so prudish like the British are. We're so prudish, we're so bound and we're so constrained, and we should just meet one woman and get married for the rest of our lives, and we shouldn't masturbate and we shouldn't watch titties on the internet. And oh my God, that's a sickness in itself. That is a residue of Catholicism, which in my mind is evil. Catholicism is evil, with the extent of how they burden the human being, laden them with guilt and shame. It's an absolute abomination. And if you're looking for Satan, look in the Catholic Church. That's what I say to people. And by the way, everyone's going to be going here, because there's a giant serpent there, and there's all different sorts of satanic iconography. Oh my God.
Okay, let me say something. From my point of view, nothing is just evil or just good. Okay, so there is a horrible, evil kind of Catholicism, and there is also a pure, holy, good kind of Catholicism, and there is a spectrum, yes, in between. It's like you say, okay, there is good. There are angelic spirits, okay, there's evil, there are demons, and this is the, how do you say, it's the extreme.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of in between. It's like you can use the Bible to teach good things, to learn good things, and you could use it to kill someone, and you could use it to push people into violence. It's the Bible in itself could be used this way or that way, and it's always the same.
Let me air this with you. You see,
yes, but
have you read?
I'm not finished. It's so much. Okay, so sexuality is basically the same thing, but it's such a wide, complex topic, and it's simply not possible to draw this picture just within a few sentences or in a page. This is just what I start. I start to tell, okay, there is something very evil happening. Okay, but if you read this and you go further, there's even a second part later in the book, is a part 2 that is like an additional part about sexuality. Yes, like okay. So if you read it all, then you will see that I do not condemn sexuality in itself. Okay, this is not what I'm doing. Of course, this is what people actually think.
No, but are you kind of like projecting some sort of puritanism? Like the pure.
No, it's not.
Just sex within marriage and only for making babies and that sort of thing.
Wait. If you are pure, then you don't need to marry, and you do not necessarily have to make babies. I mean, if you are really pure, then everything you do is pure. Fine, everything is pure if you are pure. But who is pure? Who is pure? No one is pure. And the world we are living in is completely not pure at all. Of course, there are huge differences, but it's, I mean, these are just like, it's okay. It's like helpful. Okay. So if you have one partner and you marry this person and you try to discipline yourself, then it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. I mean, you don't have to be like, how do you say, radical. Yes, you do not have to condemn others for having sex, but you could just say, okay, I want to be pure and clean and keep it disciplined. And then you could say, okay, I try to get aware of the things happening with this, all of this. You know what I mean? To be more conscious, to be more in control, to learn about what is actually happening on an energetic level when you have sex, because people are completely unconscious. They do not know anything about these things that are actually happening. Who knows this? I mean, there is an energetic layer in sexuality. There is energy flows, of course, and you should know these things. You should know that spirits are like changing the bodies. They are. It's, I mean, this is actually happening, and people should know this because it's also a responsibility. For example, so if you are in a partnership with a woman, and this woman has sex with someone else, she opens herself up energetically for another person, and then whatever might come into the body of your girlfriend, and then you have to deal with it, and it just might come into you, or the personality of your girlfriend changes in a negative way. And these things are just happening. I mean, do you want a stable partnership, or do you want to be heartbroken? Do you want to argue all the time? Yes, and have a toxic relationship? No, you want, but they do not work. The relationships do not work. People get divorced. They argue all the time. They are toxic. Why are they toxic? This is the point. You know, you just want to make it work. And some people, they have these polyamorous kind of relationships, like they accept multiple partners and stuff. They try to find a way to deal with it, but it doesn't work.
Yeah, but you see, your emphasis, your answer would be, it's evil that if you go with another partner, evil's getting into your penis, and then when you put your penis into your wife, then evil's going to go into her, and it all sounds mad in any rational sense. Look, I've had sex with astral beings, and they're supposed to be succubus. They're supposed to drain your energy. They're supposed to be demons. I've enjoyed myself and I've had a great time. I've been very energized, and I've considered them all to be highly positive experiences. Oh, yes, well, evil comes in deceptive ways and pretending to be beautiful women, whatever. We can go on like this forever and ever about everything. You just got to draw the line on this bullshit somewhere. With all the women, let's say I've encountered 300 women. 250 of them at least were professional women. And I've only ever had a couple of bad encounters where they're trying to steal your money, that sort of thing. But the rest of it, it's just been free love. You have a contract, it's just for the duration of it. Sometimes when you take a girl in Africa, it's for 24 hours, it's for a whole day, and you spend the whole day with them, and you just have fun and you learn about them, and it's just living with people who are trying to make a living, and that's what they do because it's the oldest profession on the planet. I can't condemn this. I can't, even for a minute, say there's any evil in it at all. And what I will say, if I've had sex with, let's say, 150 African women, never ever was I wearing a contraceptive, and never did I receive any sexually transmitted disease. The only one sexually transmitted disease in my life has been from a girl in my home city, who you would think, is a very nice, or, local girl and all this sort of thing. But all these girls all over the world, going to all different sort of countries and, in Amsterdam and in America, with all these Vegas sort of places, never had a problem with anything. And so I don't see it how you see it, Edward. And I'm never ever going to be convinced. And I'm pretty sure that many other people aren't going to be convinced. The way I
Yes.
look at it is like, look, you've got a certain way of looking at it. And it's kind of like you want to project onto the whole world. You've got to know this. And you're very serious in your book. And you emphasize and you emphasize. And it's kind of like, well, if you ever want to terrorize someone, just keep along those tracks. There is a way that you can get the message over, which is going to make people much more open. I'm talking about spirits, and I'm saying, look, spirits, they're within us, they come and they go. But I'm not emphasizing on the evil because to be fair, the evil encounters have been very, very few. In comparison to all the rest. I believe it's there. Yes, it is. And if you do certain things, then you put yourself in the realm where you're going to attract these spirits. But I don't believe they're anything like as prolific that you're saying. If you eat bad food, it's an evil demon that's making you do it. Really?
Okay, so first, I do not agree that negativity or evil is the focus in my books. So if you see all of them in total and you just count the pages that are related to explaining evil, etc., then this is not 50%, it's less. So my book starts with what is spirituality, what is good and evil, but just, even about spiritual lifestyle and about karma and reincarnation and theories. And then you get into chapter 4, and then you see things about the negative power, just and only, getting into detail. So this is just one chapter. Of course, it's a 100 pages chapter, but still it's just a single chapter. And then you go on to the next chapter, which is about spiritual practices. So it's not that much. It's just a very important part. And if you go to the second book and the third book and fourth and fifth book, then you see that it just gets into the background more and more. And it gets more calm and reasonable. It was just like my coming out. Yes. So, and I wanted to say a very important thing. I know that you had no bad experiences with sexuality. It was just the opposite. Okay, but there is a reason for this. There is a certain reason why it was so wonderful for you and why it's so horrible for me. There is a reason, and this is your identity, because you are connected to evil spirits in a way they don't fight you. You see, you are not, in their eyes, you are not an opponent, but you're even a friend of theirs. Yes, I mean, it's obvious how they treat you and stuff. So I am supposed to be an enemy. They see me as their enemy, not as their friend like you do. And this is why, for me, things turn out completely differently than for you. We are just on different sides. And this is why things are so fine for you, but not for me. So your experiences are just one side. Yes.
Yeah. Do you remember the film Damien?
Damien?
Yeah.
No.